I have full body. I sit in front of mirrors. I don't do anything else. So I guess I define as that lifestyle. People come up to me often. I mean, every e-girl, if they have a full body, if you sit in front of a mirror, you get a lot of guys. So, usually e-boys trying to talk. Unfortunately. I don't know. I guess I just don't take people in VR chat that seriously. If someone comes up to you trying to fucking hit on you, it's not, it's all fun and games. It's not nothing serious, basically. Well, no, I have dated long distance and we met in a video game, but I just haven't been on this long enough, or I haven't met the right one. I don't know. Who knows? Anything can happen.
There's a lot of different stereotypes. Like there's like people like you see my skin. There's people who wear skins like this, where it's like real people. Partially, it's the addiction part, not part. Nah, I feel like they just make it their reality like a lot. This is what I used to wear like every single day when I used to play this game. So it's like kind of like me in this world type. It's weird. I don't know. People get like really in tune with it, I would say. But there's also the people that wear the e-boy avatars for just to pull bitches. They'll be like, I don't know. They'll go around like just trying to rizz up girls all day. Like that's all they do. Like you lower your voice like this, like, "Hey, what's good, shorty?" And then e-girls are pretty much the same, but opposite. You know?
The reason they're stereotypes is because there's truth to it.
It depends on what they are. They can fluctuate. Some of them, I mean, most stereotypes are grounded in some level of truth. I mean, if it wasn't, there wouldn't be a stereotype there in the first place. That's not to say everyone is. A lot of them can be mean-spirited, but most of it's observant. So, yeah, I mean, you could meet a really bad stereotype of somebody and in the same day meet five where there's not, or vice versa. It's hard to say, especially with how divided the groups can be when you've got Quest users who can't go to all the worlds versus PC users who can, and all that sort of back and forth. I mean, I've met such a diverse amount of people. I don't have the time to care. So I end up just talking to people and just having a good time. So whether it's there or not, I don't inherently see it myself. Don't be afraid to approach people in this game. Of all the times that I've just approached a random group of people just having a conversation, I've only ever had maybe 1-2 bad experiences, and I've been playing this for a good 6 months, almost a year now. There's far more friendly people than you might be willing to suspect, and a lot of people are really open to just accepting some random person. Hey, come join the group. If you got something to say it. Let's have some fun. We're all here for a good time, right?
What's your YouTube name? So you can probably like cut this out a little bit too. Go subscribe to Humans in VR. Okay.
Loners.
There's a lot of loners, man. That I agree with that. There's loners, but I'd say there's also there's groups, and then when we talk about stereotypes, like there's so many genres. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much genres. Like you couldn't pinpoint an exact like genre. Like what is the biggest stereotype in VR? Well, probably like a furry, right? E-girls that's so prevalent. You see e-girls all the time, and then
Another group that I could add to loners, sad people, I guess. People looking for love, and there's so many people because happier people don't need to flee their reality. And sad people, it's so easy in this reality here. You can experience everything. You can type in Japan, and if you don't have a lot of money in real life and you're a sad person and you dream of going to Japan, you can buy a headset
I'd
for
say
$200 and go to
either
Japan.
I'd say about escaping reality. See, I was gonna say that before. I was thinking about saying what you said, like bro, like what he said there. All right, like people come here, yeah, like mostly some people come here to escape reality and just like they just want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like oh they're looking for love, or like they're looking for people to connect with and like just do stuff with and all that, or they're just to play, like they're here to play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like because a lot of kids they play like a lot of kids in VR, they go to the the little kiddie worlds, but I'd say that there's depressed people too, maybe people that have a lot of social anxiety. I run into a few people that have like a lot of social anxiety, like I see a lot of like that's pretty prevalent in here. People that have social anxiety, people that have like a really big ego, but they're just in real life they just whatever. Like that's another thing too.
I think the most basic one will be people that stand in front of mirrors. I don't know. I think some people find fun into doing this, but I don't really understand. I never understood that.
Oh, the full body tracking people. Yeah, that's just like a typical. That's like a typical like upgraded mirror dweller. Since I'm a mirror, I'm a partial. I'm what you call a half and half. I like to wander and like switch worlds every so often because I get bored of one world for too long. But I also do like to mirror dwell. I'm like a medium mirror dweller. But then you get like people in full body tracking who sit in front of a mirror and they just do it in a bit of like a weird pose like all the time and stuff like that. It's a pretty interesting thing to see sometimes as well. And I always like to go up to them and be like, what do you do for a job? Because, you know, you gotta get a lot of money for those things. From like working at a McDonald's to probably like truck driving, they probably do some weird stuff to get what they need. For me, I just got a lot of inheritance and a lot of birthday money basically. And I bought this headset for me and my mother.
Well, you know, they have the typical e-boy avatars. They sit around just talking shit, basically like mirror dwellers. I don't know. But I mean, there's all kinds of people. Not everyone fits the same group if they're wearing the same avatar, so it doesn't really define the group.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, well, there's a difference between like trolls and like toxic people. Those are like two different stereotypes, I feel like. There's toxics, people that just go around shit talking people, and there's trolls, people who go around just messing with people, like just lying to them and just not being real at all whatsoever.
It's all dependent on what you're looking for when you go into a world. VRChat, it's got a diverse community. Going into somewhere like the Black Cat, it's very much a starter ground. You're going to get a lot more new players. You're going to get a lot more children who don't know what's going on. They might have seen it on a YouTube. So you have a lot of chaos going on Black Cat because everybody's just kind of, it's usually like their first or second experience in VR. When you find something like this, you find a far less count of new players. And because of that, you also find a lot less kids, which some people try to avoid children in this game because it means a 13 and up game. I can't tell you the amount of times I've met somebody who I was like certainly under 13, and I'm like, it's all dependent on how much you're trying to avoid drama, annoyance, and or just, you know, certain crowds.
Pretty much any category there is in IRL, it's basically here too. It's like its own reality itself. It kind of shows like it's more lifelike.
The contrary belief, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that I met on here that act like neats who just play this all day and don't do anything else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but like I see people who like really lose touch with reality. A person that has like no work ethic has never really gone out, done anything productive with their life, like at all. But I got like a couple of, well, like 2 or 3 friends who are kind of still stuck on that mindset. I mean, they've had a lot of shit happen in their lives, so I can't really pass too much judgment on them. But it kind of does get to a point to where it's kind of got to grow up at some point. I mean, I'm not going to tell them that they've been with me for a long period in my life, so I don't really have an issue with them. They're on disability. I mean, to each their own. I mean, I talk a lot of shit, but like at the end of the day, like you do you type of situation. I personally don't ever see myself ever becoming like that. Like I grew up in a life of poverty and I worked really hard to get to where I'm at, and I'm never gonna like regress down to that point in my life.
There is also toxicity, like Xbox and PS4. Quest users get picked on by PC users, like with full body tracking, talking about how poor they are because they can't afford a PC and stuff like that. Because, you know, there's some people out there who have PC only avatars and Quests can't see those because they're too high in the bit rate. See, even you can't escape from judgment, even if it is a furry.
If I could put it in 3 words, I guess it would be like childish, aggressive, and loving. Because there's definitely like a very like alpha, like fuck you narrative like happening all the time. But there's also just literal like children in this game. And then there's just people who are either cuddling or very wholesome and, you know, like loving or like fatherly or motherly types. I never would want anyone to feel like this game is like Tinder, like, because it makes it way too exhausting. This game is like I said earlier, it's like another place to be. It's like a dimension. You can't treat it like you're like on Bachelors or whatever. If anything did kill VR chat, it's that whole narrative. When VR chat became sexy. It's always been kind of lewd, but they didn't have like sexualized avatars till like late 2018, 19, like kind of right before Quest came out, which is kind of awkward and like ironic.
Kindness is contagious. When you are kind, you inspire others. Be the spark. Spreading kindness merchandise available now.